I want to welcome Chuck Sylvester, former general manager of the National Western Stock Show from 1978 to 2003, by the way. Now, Chuck, in relation to this strange year that we're having, was your time at the helm the good old days, or did you have struggles back then too?
Well, it was so enjoyable. Every year was a good old day. Yeah, there were some years that was better than others, and we had some blizzards to deal with and parking problems, but it was just a wonderful year and a wonderful experience.
Wonderful experience. That's what you want. Now, Chuck, National Western's current president and CEO Paul Andrews refers to you as one of the giants of the National Western. He calls you a trail boss, as a matter of fact. You started working at the yards and then rose to the position of general manager. Tell me what that journey was like.
Well, it was wonderful. I kind of started working in the stock show in the early 60s on the judging contest. And I think my first paycheck from the stock show was like $10 or $15 being a group leader. And there were some years there that was cold, and we had contestants come in from Hawaii and didn't have gloves or hats, and they had some frostbite. But I enjoyed the judging contest and worked up to where I was superintendent of the judge contest in the late 60s into about 1970, somewhere there. And then when I came back from the ranch in 74, when Willard Sims, my mentor, hired me to do some different projects. And one of them was to work in the yards. And that summer I had organized the meat judging contest, and I thought surely I'd get to be superintendent. He says, no, you got to find someone, got another job. And it was working in the yards, being paid by Denver Livestock Market. And running the bull office. And that's where they had, at that time, they had a lot of sales of bulls as well as the pen assignments and so forth. And I didn't know why until after the show. And that's when they terminated the lease with the market operators, and the stock show took it over. And so I was named kind of manager of the livestock center. And I had the honor of naming it the Livestock Center. And it was interesting, the people that were operating it very upset, and they were trying to destroy everything. And I have to admit my guilt. There was some papers with pen assignments and sale prices of bulls that were so important. I snuck them out under my coat.
Wow.
And I did office up here on the hill, and when I walked down to move into the office in the yards, I carried everything in an attaché case. That's all I had. And started out, and we did a renovation of the yards, painted every pen and painted the gates yellow, and ran that yards. And that was enjoyable because I enjoyed being what I consider the heart of the cattle industry, and that is the commercial cattle breeders, and they come here because of the purebred breeders and seeing all the bulls and heifers and buying their animals, and I really thoroughly enjoyed my 3 years in the yards, and that was my first employment.
Wow. Step by step till you reach general manager. So you truly know the National Western inside and out.
Well, yes and no. You can't do it alone.
Right.
You have to depend on people, and had great staff, and I didn't like using the word I. It was staff and me. And you turn staff loose and support them, and they create great things and come up with good suggestions, and we'd have a lot of staff meetings and tell them how important they were, and we work together, and good things happen when you do that.
Right, and good things continue to happen, as you know. The building goes on out there. Everything's really happening. Tell me your assessment of what's being done now and really what it's destined to be.
Well, I'm glad to see them renovating the yards, and my love for it. And that is the backbone of the industry. And of course, there'll be a lot of things moved down there. And they've done a great job studying, a thorough study, and I'm all for them and support their renovation activity. In the long run, it'll be a great addition to a great institution, the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Chuck. Now, during your 25 years as general manager, I'm sure you probably have seen it all. What's your most vivid memory of those times?
Well, one thing, Willard Sims was really a mentor to me, a great man. Just about the time that I was hired named general manager just before, he hired a study firm to do a study of the National Western. comparing our attendance with 3 major shows in Texas, and that was Fort Worth, San Antonio, and Houston. And after the results were in, it was kind of a determination. Compared to those shows, we weren't getting our fair share of the urban people.
Wow.
Yes, we were bringing in the ranchers and agricultural people and exhibits agriculture, but we weren't getting our fair share of urban people. So it was a great challenge to set out and add things that people could identify with instead of just looking at the hind's end of cattle row after row. And one of the things on our 75th anniversary, 81, started the Coors Draft Horse Show. And people love horses, and they love those Gentle Giants, and that brought people. And then going from there, you know, we had a stock dog trial, we had a dog pull, we brought in llamas, things that people could identify with as pets, because my saying is that 75% of the homes probably have a pet.
Right.
So they love seeing pets and put to use and so forth, and getting more urban people attending.
Yeah, and it certainly worked, because you're running 700,000 every 16 days through there during the stock show, right?
Well, yes, but see, when it started, it was 9 days.
Right.
And the first thing I asked for my second year was more days, and went from 9 to 16, so we could keep adding these events. And then, of course, the passage of the bond issue in 1989 was a great enjoyment, and that got the bond issue for $30 million. And we expanded this building right where we're seated here, and a renovation was completed in time for the 91 show. And then in about 93 or so, started on the construction of the Equestrian Center. And that helped, where you could add more performances to the rodeo and then do a variety. And by doing that, we did the Mexican Rodeo Extravaganza, which really brought in a crowd and especially catered to the Hispanic population that contributes so much to our community. And on Monday night, Martin Luther King Day, a black rodeo. And then adding to it, we didn't have time to do it or place to do it before, is professional bull riding. It started with 2 performances and so successful, and that was on a Monday and Tuesday night. Nights it's hard to sell tickets, but if people will go to a bull riding whenever it is, any night of the week or any time or day. And it was so successful, we expanded to 3 days. And then again, you know, staff, great people, Larry Allstat, a great ticket manager. The Coliseum only seat 8,200, and we got all these people on Saturday that want to buy tickets. Well, we made the Coliseum 50% bigger by adding a 11 a.m. performance and having 3 performances. The Cowboys kind of laughed at it and called the 11 a.m. performance the pajama performance.
There you go. You have been such a tremendous part of this. This video is called The Stock Show Icons, and everybody I sit down with says, I'm not an icon, and as you said, it's the people around you that kind of help make you the icon.
Exactly.
But let me just ask you, what drove you to be such an integral part of the National Western?
I think it started back in 1941. I was only 3 years old. But my folks attended regularly, and just coming out of the Depression, they were poor farmers, couldn't buy tickets. And they took turns holding me in the old stadium so I could see the rodeo. And from a very young age, I developed a passion and love for the show. I enjoyed seeing the animals, enjoyed seeing the rodeo, and the wonderful voice of Cy Tillian, the announcer. And it was such an inspiration. And then through the years, showing a steer here in 52 and caught a catchy calf in 53, and came back and working on the judging contest in the 60s. And it was just a fulfillment of a dream that I had as a young child, being able to work the stock show and just work there, not be the general manager. And of course, I thought my dream was answered when I was a county agent in Longmont, and we had the Boulder County Fair and Rodeo, and I worked at the Colorado State Fair for 4 years and helped them celebrate the 100th anniversary in 1972. And went to Wyoming to be a rancher. Thought I'd be there forever, but God didn't want me a rancher. That spring, every weekend in April, first weekend in May, a major blizzard rolled through, and we end up losing over 200 cows and 300 calves, and just a devastating year. And after 1 year, I was back in the job market and living in Colorado, and that's when I started doing some special assignments for Mr. Sims, and I think he had confidence in me on how I ran the judging contests.
And they did have confidence, and you did so much. And as you look back on all this, of your association, what are you most proud of from your standpoint?
Proud that we reach out to the people, the industry, and help them merchandise their cattle, the commercial exhibits, all the great exhibits we have there, and they have a chance to merchandise their goods and services to the people in the industry. The stock show was started in '06 by cattlemen and sheepmen and helping them. But the biggest thing is that it's a big economical benefit to the city of Denver, but reaching out to the community and a chance for them to be educated on agriculture, and especially the children.
That's it. That's just perfect. You are such an integral part and the fabric of the stock show. What are your hopes and dreams for the stock show down the road in the future?
Well, I want it to continue to grow, remember their roots. It was started by cattlemen and sheepmen, and always keep that as a top priority. But you have to do things to reach the people. And having all these different events now that they can have in the Equestrian Center and the Coliseum, it just reaches out to more people and helps bring more youth to Denver, to the Denver children who don't have a chance. And I think the Children's Ranch Land is the greatest thing. You just hear all the squeals of laughter and so forth.
Sure.
Which reminds me of squeals of laughter when I was general manager. And in the rodeo box, I was going upstairs and I heard this outburst of laughter, and I could tell it was all children. And I turned around, and sure enough, there the clowns were out there doing something funny. But I had a feeling then we had to entertain the children. Yes, the parents enjoy the rodeo. If you don't keep the children entertained, they get to fussing. Before long, the parents are fussing, then they're fighting. They leave in a huff and may never come back. But if you can keep the children happy, education, everybody has a good time, and they come back and they buy more tickets.
Boy, and you've done that. What tremendous insight into the stock show. So Chuck, tell me about this picture you brought.
Well, it was one of my passions growing up as youth. When I actually started in high school in our FFA chapter at Greene, had a little rodeo, and I rode a bull or two and participated. And then I went on to Colorado State University, and I participated rodeoing a little bit, riding bulls and saddle broncs. But in 1958 and 1959, I did enter the bull riding here in Denver. And this particular photo was 1959, and I did ride the bull. Not good enough to place, but it was just a great honor to be there 8 seconds.
Well, you look pretty good in that picture.
Well, that's part of my enjoyment. But good years and fond memories.
So just how hard is it? You know, we had to, for all the right reasons, had to cancel the stock show this year. We're doing a wonderful 16-day virtual stock show. How hard is it for you to sit still and wait for 2022 when it will probably return? It's all in its familiar glory.
Well, I'll be patient, and I hope to be here and continue on a great tradition. It has an established tradition that some of the other stock shows now can't emulate. It's just the community working together, and all the people, the sponsors, and they come together and to celebrate a great thing, and that's the agriculture, the livestock industry, the contestants, people that love horses, and then others that love pets, and a place to go shopping and have a good time. I enjoy hearing people laugh and carry on having a good time.
Well, so much of that is due directly to you. So we thank you for all your efforts and all your kindness and that general managership for 25 years. Yeah. And we appreciate you being here today.
Well, it's an honor to be considered an icon. I still just consider myself a farm boy from LaSalle, Colorado, but I had a fortunate to be in 4-H and FFA. My parents got to there, And that's what took me to Colorado State University, and just good things happen along my life, and my dream come true working at the stock show.
There you go. Well, we will call you Chuck Sylvester Icon, but thank you so much.
Well, an honor to be here, and thank you for including me.
Sure.